I never thought I'd find myself in a situation like this, honestly. I always believed I had a pretty solid marriage with Emily. We'd been together for about 8 years, and in those years I thought we'd seen it all: good times, bad times, the usual ups and downs. But lately, something felt off. Emily had become more irritable, snapping at me over small things, and she'd started working longer hours, claiming she was just busy with her job. I didn't push her on it because, well, I figured everyone goes through rough patches, right? Still, I couldn't shake this gnawing feeling that something was wrong. It all started about 3 weeks ago. I was at work minding my own business when I got a call from Karen, Emily's assistant at her consulting firm. Karen was a good girl, always friendly, but that day she sounded hesitant and almost guilty. She told me she found some messages on Emily's phone, texts that didn't really seem like Emily, not the kind of things she'd normally say. I brushed her off at first, thinking maybe it was just some harmless flirtation or a joke. But then, Karen mentioned that Emily and her financial advisor, Ryan, had been texting more and more, and some of the messages were frankly inappropriate. That hit me like a ton of bricks. Ryan was our financial advisor, a guy Emily had been working with for over a year now. He was supposed to help us secure our future, get us on track for retirement, make smart investments. But apparently, he'd been more than just our financial guy. The messages Karen showed me weren't just about stocks or IRAs. They were flirty, suggestive, downright intimate at times. I saw the texts, things like "can't wait to see you again" and "thinking about the last time we were alone." It made my stomach turn. I couldn't believe this was happening. My wife Emily cheating on me with our financial advisor. It just felt unreal. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, so I decided to dig further before confronting her. I went home early that day and tried to keep my cool. When I walked in, Emily was in the kitchen, already snapping at me for some minor thing, usual bitchy attitude lately. I kept my voice steady, but inside I was boiling. I acted like everything was normal, but I started noticing little things. Her phone kept buzzing, she was secretive about her messages, and her behavior was way more defensive than usual. She'd quickly close her laptop when I entered the room, or her eyes would dart away when I asked about her day. Every little thing was screaming that she was hiding something. Then I found her phone. She had left it on the kitchen counter and I couldn't help myself. I picked it up, unlocked it, and started scrolling through her messages. That's when I saw Ryan's name pop up in her inbox. I was expecting maybe a work-related message, but what I saw was a string of texts that didn't belong to a professional relationship. They were flirty, teasing, and downright dirty sometimes. My heart pounded like crazy. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. How could she do this to me? After 8 years, I thought we were solid. I thought she loved me, but this was betrayal on a whole new level. I felt like I was in a dream. I stared at the screen, trying to process what I was seeing. My wife, my partner, my everything, cheating behind my back with the guy helping us plan for our future. That's some sick twist I never saw coming. I wanted to scream, to break something, but I held it in. I took a deep breath, trying to get a grip. I knew I couldn't just accuse her without evidence, but the signs were pretty clear now. I had enough to confront her, and I knew I had to do it soon. The question was how, and what would I say? The trust I had in her, in us, was crumbling, and I didn't see how we could come back from this. I took the phone into the living room and sat down heavily on the couch, feeling like my entire world was collapsing around me. I kept going over what I'd seen, trying to understand how someone I trusted could do this. Emily was always so bitchy, so quick to accuse me of things I didn't do, but here she was, sneaking around, lying, cheating. It was like I was living with a stranger, someone who could look me in the eye and lie through her teeth about everything. I knew I couldn't keep this to myself for long. The more I thought about it, the more I realized I had to confront her immediately. I was furious, but I also felt a strange sense of numbness. I wasn't sure what I was feeling most: anger, sadness, betrayal. I just knew I couldn't pretend I hadn't seen what I saw, so I called her into the living room. She was in the kitchen, probably pretending to be busy, but when I called her, she came in with that typical bitchy look that she always wore when she knew she was about to get called out on something. "Emily, I need to talk to you," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. She looked at me with those cold, sharp eyes and said, "What's wrong, honey? Did I forget to take out the trash again?" I didn't bother to respond at first. I just held up her phone and showed her the messages from Ryan. Her face instantly changed from that bitchy smirk to something else. Shock, maybe? Or was it denial? She looked at the screen, then back at me, her eyes narrowing. "Look, I don't know what you think you saw," she said, crossing her arms around her chest. "You're overreacting. Those messages are nothing. Ryan's a friend of mine. We talk about investments, about the future. You know, stuff spouses talk about." I wanted to laugh or scream, but I just stared at her. "Friendship doesn't include 'can't wait to see you again' or 'thinking about last night,'" I shot back bitterly. "I saw the messages, Emily. I know what they are. I know you're cheating on me." She rolled her eyes, her tone turning bitchy again. "Oh, please, you're always so paranoid. Maybe you're jealous because I'm working with Ryan and you're worried about losing control. But I'm telling you, there's nothing going on. You're making a huge deal out of nothing." That's when I saw her lie so blatantly, so easily, that it made my stomach turn even more. She was so good at covering her ass, even when she was caught dead to rights. The words hit me hard. I felt a mixture of rage and heartbreak. How could she lie so effortlessly? Did she really think I was that stupid? That I wouldn't see through her bullshit? I knew she was trying to brush it off, to pretend it was nothing. But this was bigger than some stupid flirtation. It was betrayal, plain and simple. And if she was lying about that, what else was she lying about? How long had this been going on? Was this just a fling, or had she been doing this for months? I wanted to break something, to scream at her that I deserved better, but I held back. I looked her in the eyes and told her, "You're fucking cheating on me. I saw the messages, Emily. I know about Ryan, and I want to hear the truth now." Her expression flickered, the bitchy mask giving way to something more defensive. She shrugged, trying to act like I was overreacting or making a big deal out of nothing. But I wasn't buying it anymore. I could see right through her lies. I felt a cold numbness settle over me. All those years, all those memories suddenly meant nothing. How could I have been so blind? How did I not see the signs? I had trusted her, loved her, and now I realized she'd been lying to my face every day. I didn't want to believe it, but I had the proof right in front of me, and now I was left with nothing but a shattered heart and a raging fury inside. The room felt small, suffocating as I stared at her, waiting for some kind of honest explanation. But Emily just kept up that act. She was so good at pretending she wasn't caught, like she was used to lying her way out of everything. She looked at me with those angry, bitchy eyes like I was the one overreacting. She said, "You're blowing this way out of proportion, Jason. You're acting like I've committed some terrible crime. Ryan's just a friend, like I said. Maybe you're just insecure or jealous. I don't know what you want me to say." I clenched my fists, feeling the blood rush in my ears. I was furious. How could she sit there and dismiss what I knew was happening? How could she pretend she didn't see the way her behavior had changed? She was sneaky, manipulative, a master at turning everything around on me. I was so mad I could hardly speak. "Don't try to spin this, Emily. I've seen the messages, I've read what she sent you. You're sleeping with Ryan, are?" Her face twisted into that typical bitchy sneer. "Oh, so now you're calling me a slut, Jason, really? You think I'd cheat on you with some slimy accountant? You're unbelievable." She was deflecting hard, throwing names, insults, anything to make me doubt myself, but I wasn't buying it anymore. I was too hurt, too betrayed. I could feel the tears coming, but I fought them back, kept my voice steady. "You think I'm stupid. I know what I saw, and I know it's not just some innocent business talk. You've been sleeping with Ryan. How long has this been going on? How many times?" She rolled her eyes again and scoffed. "You're acting like I'm some kind of whore. It's none of your business. I don't owe you an explanation for every message I send. I don't have to justify myself to you." That's when I lost it. The betrayal was so raw, so intense, I just blurted out, "You're a cheating bitch, Emily. I can't believe I wasted all these years on someone like you." She snapped back, "Oh, so now I'm the bad guy. You're so insecure, Jason. Maybe you're the one with the problem. Why don't you just leave me alone and stop accusing me of things I didn't do?" Her words cut deeper than I expected. I'd always thought she was a little bitchy, but hearing her dismiss my feelings that way made me realize how cold she'd become. She didn't care about the pain she was causing me. She just wanted to deny everything and keep her secret. I stood there, trembling with rage and sadness. I wanted to grab her, shake her, and scream, "How could you do this to me?" But I just clenched my jaw, trying to contain myself. I knew I couldn't just fly off the handle. I had to think, to plan what I was going to do next. Because the truth was, I was already done. Done with her lies, her betrayal, and all the years I'd wasted trusting someone so unfaithful. The betrayal had cut so deep I wasn't sure if I'd ever be able to forgive her. Maybe I'd never be able to look at her the same way again. The worst part was, I didn't even know what I wanted anymore. Part of me wanted to pack my stuff, walk out, and never look back. But another part of me was desperate to fix this, to understand why she did it, to see if there was any way to save what was left. But deep down, I knew it was over. Once trust was broken like this, there was no putting it back together. Still, I had to hear her out, had to get the full story. Because if there was one thing I'd learned, it's that betrayal doesn't just hurt, it changes everything forever. I took a long, shaky breath, trying to steady myself. My mind was racing, but I knew I needed clarity, needed to hear her out, even if I already suspected what the answers would be. "Tell me, Emily," I said, voice rough, "how long has this been going on? Since when?" She looked at me, her eyes cold, and shrugged as if it was nothing. "It's not like it's been going on for years, just a few weeks, maybe a month. I was feeling neglected, you know. You work so much, you don't pay attention anymore. Ryan was just there for me, someone I could talk to. It was stupid, I guess. I didn't think it would go this far. I swear, Jason, it's not what you think. It was just sex and it didn't mean anything." The way she said it, so dismissive, like I should just accept that, made my blood boil. Sex. That's all it was. I knew better. I'd seen the messages. I knew they weren't just about sex. They were about something deeper, something she'd been hiding. But hearing her say it so flippantly, so casually, made me realize she didn't care about how much she'd hurt me. She was playing the victim, like I was some jealous idiot overreacting. I looked her straight in the eyes, trying to find even a shred of remorse, but came up empty. "So you're telling me it was just sex? Nothing more, no feelings, no real connection?" She rolled her eyes again, that bitchy smirk creeping back. "God, Jason, you're such a drama queen. No, I didn't fall in love with him or anything. It was just sex. That's all it was, but it's over now. I swear, I don't want to lose you. I don't want this to ruin everything." I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. Her words sounded hollow. I'd seen the messages. She'd been texting him late at night, calling him babe, saying she missed him. How could she pretend it was just sex? I wanted to believe her, I really did, but I couldn't. My gut told me there was more to it than that. And the fact that she kept denying it, kept acting like I was overreacting, only made everything worse. Part of me wanted to believe she'd stop, that she'd come clean and admit everything. But another part, no, the bigger part, knew that wasn't going to happen. She was a liar, a manipulator. She'd been cheating on me behind my back and now was trying to brush it off as if it was nothing. I looked at her and said, "You really expect me to believe that? That you just had some fling and now it's over, after all those messages, all those lies?" She crossed her arms, looking defiant. "Yes, Jason, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's over. I love you. I want to fix this. But I can't do that if you keep throwing accusations around. Maybe I deserve better than this, someone who trusts me instead of accusing me of every little thing." Those words hit me like a slap. Trust. After everything, she expected me to just forget, to forgive her. I felt a mixture of disgust and heartbreak. How easy it was for her to dismiss what she did as if it was just a mistake, a meaningless thing. But I knew better. I knew this wasn't just some one-night stand. It was months of lies, hiding, sneaking around. I felt the tears brimming again, but clenched my jaw. I was trying to stay strong, but inside I was breaking. I'd been with her for so long, believed in us, believed she loved me. And now I saw that she'd been playing me the whole time. I couldn't understand how someone I loved could do something so cruel, so careless. It felt like I'd been punched in the chest, and I didn't know how I was going to get through it. I didn't know if I could forgive, or if I even wanted to anymore. All I knew is that I'd never look at her the same way again. The silence between us stretched thick and heavy, like a fog I couldn't clear. I looked at her, saw her trying to act like everything was normal, like her lies weren't slicing through me like a knife. But I felt it deep down. The betrayal, the hurt, The realization that the woman I'd loved, trusted, and built a life with had been lying to my face all this time. I clenched my fists and thought about everything we shared. Our plans, our dreams, the quiet nights, the fights, the laughs. All of it suddenly felt so fragile I was scared I might shatter. Part of me wanted to scream at her, call her every vile name I could think of to make her see how much she'd hurt me. But I knew that wouldn't change anything. Her lies, her betrayal, they were already done. What I needed now was clarity. I had to decide what to do next, even if my mind was a mess of rage and heartbreak. I told her I needed to think. She looked irritated, like I was wasting her time, but I didn't care. I told her flat out, I don't know what's going to happen, Emily. I don't know if I can forgive this, if I can ever trust you again. But I need some space. I need time to process everything, to figure out if this is fixable or if I should just walk away. Her face twisted into that familiar bitchy sneer. Fine, she snapped. Take all the time you want, but don't expect me to wait around forever. That was the moment I realized this wasn't going to be easy. She was already preparing to protect herself, to keep her lie alive. That bitchy attitude, that ego, she wasn't remorseful, just annoyed that I'd found out. I felt a wave of disgust. How could someone be so selfish? How could she be so callous about my feelings? I decided I couldn't stay in that house with her anymore, not after everything I saw and heard. I told her I was leaving. I didn't say where, just that I needed space from her. She rolled her eyes and spat. Go ahead. Do what you want. Just don't come crawling back when you realize how lonely you'll be without me. That comment stung worse than anything else. It was her way of dismissing me, like I was already defeated, already losing. As I packed my bag, I felt a strange mix of relief and despair. Part of me wanted to scream at her, to tell her she was a selfish, manipulative bitch who'd ruined everything. But another part knew I'd done enough damage for one day. I just wanted to get out of there, breathe, and try to make sense of what had happened. Deep down, I knew this was the beginning of the end. Her lies, her betrayal, everything that made us, was shattered beyond repair. And I was left standing there, heart heavy, trying to hold back tears, wondering how I'd ever pick up the pieces of this broken life. The days that followed were a blur of confusion, anger, and sadness. I moved out of the house, not really knowing where I was going, just knowing I couldn't stay in that place with her anymore. Every time I thought about what had happened, I felt this gnawing ache deep inside, a mixture of betrayal and heartbreak I didn't think I'd ever get past. I kept replaying those messages, her dismissive attitude, her lies. It was like a movie I couldn't turn off, and each time the pain grew worse. I tried to talk. Friends, but honestly, I didn't want to unload everything. Most of them just nodded sympathetically, but I could tell they didn't really understand how deep it cut. It was one thing to know your wife was cheating, but another to see her so cold and uncaring about the damage she'd done. I guess I'd always believed in us, in the idea of a partnership, but now I wondered if I'd been blind the entire time. After a few weeks, I finally managed to step back and look at everything more clearly. I realized that Emily had been manipulating me for months, playing her bitchy, entitled role, hiding her true feelings and cheating behind my back. I knew I'd never be able to trust her again, and that was the hardest part of all. Trust had been the foundation of everything we built, and she'd shattered it with her lies and her betrayal. I kept asking myself how I let it get this far, how I didn't see the signs sooner. But the truth was, I'd been blinded by love, and she'd taken advantage of that. In the end, I decided that I needed to move on, not just for my sanity but for my dignity. I filed for separation, and even though it hurt like hell, I knew I had to do it. I couldn't be with someone who didn't value me, who lied and cheated and then dismissed my feelings like they were nothing. The anger eventually faded into sadness, and the sadness slowly turned into acceptance. I understood I deserved better, that I was better off without her. Looking back now, I see that this experience taught me a lot about trust, betrayal, and standing up for myself. I learned that love isn't enough if it's not reciprocated honestly and respectfully. I learned that sometimes, the biggest act of love you can do is walk away from someone who doesn't deserve you. And I realized that, no matter how much it hurts in the moment, time does heal wounds. It's been a rough road, but I'm slowly rebuilding myself, piece by piece. To anyone reading this who's going through something similar, trust your instincts. Don't ignore the red flags, and don't let guilt or fear keep you from walking away if you know deep down it's over. You deserve honesty, respect, and someone who appreciates you for who you are. I may have lost a wife, but I gained a new sense of self-worth. And that, in the end, is what matters most.